botched our mission because we were a little late leaving the house. And then there happened to be a ton of traffic. And I think there might have been an accident, but not confirmed. So we had to go kind of a different way and then get back on the main highway to get to the airport. But that's that. We will arrive within an hour, so we should be fine. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Lucy, and if you're new here, then welcome. I mostly record videos about my life, and if you're not new here, then thanks for coming back and watching. Today, Will and I are flying into London, but we're going to Scotland ultimately to visit our wedding venue. So let's go have a great old time. Really excited for the overnight flight. We're doing well. Morale is, what's morale?
Mixed.
Mixed morale. Trip is starting off interestingly. Will's already hungry again. It's raining.
Keep your seatbelt fastened when the seatbelt sign is on and anytime you are seated. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal fitting into the buckle until it clicks.
It's raining, you guys, and we're about to take off. I thought it would be fun to narrate some of this video since a lot of it I'm not talking. Morale is low.
For you.
I love the United safety video. Forgot about
FAA
6
regulation
kids
requires you to follow
fully
the instructions of the
surrounding
crew
us.
member and comply with posted and lighted signs.
Overall, the flight was actually pretty good. It was raining whenever we were leaving, but I slept for most of the time. There was an annoying kid in front of us and beside us that were kind of randomly screaming and crying and stuff, but I mean, no big deal. And there was like a sick guy in front of us that kept sniffing, so like I feel like Will looked over at me one point and we just could not sleep, but we got through it, and we got there. This is just Will hanging out, attempting to read a book. As you can see, there's one baby in the background. There was that one baby there, and then there was another baby sitting directly in front of us, and they also didn't have their own seats, which makes sense. Why would you pay literally $800 or whatever it cost for a baby to fly? But at the same time, I feel like that kind of stinks for the baby because you're sort of forced to just hang out with in your parents' laps and like sleep there. The people in front of us actually did something super smart. And the seats they bought were the bulkhead, so in front of them there was no one sitting there, so their toddler baby could kind of like hang out there during the flight, which I thought was a really good idea if you are traveling with a toddler on your lap. So as you can see, we're off of the plane, and now this is just the sunrise. At one point I woke up and I just thought it was really cool. I fly a lot and I feel like I've traveled a lot, but for some reason stuff like this always amazes me whenever I'm traveling, and I feel like it's just a reminder of how big the world is and how small we are and just all of the beauty that the world has. And I think I'm so fortunate that I get to travel so often, and it is one of the things I love the most. So this is just a reminder of that, and I'm always grateful when I see things like this. And I think there's never a shortage of amazing sights in the world, and there's always the little things that you can find and just makes you feel grateful for the position that you're in, where you are in the world. I always get this, especially when traveling and seeing new places, and it just, I feel like, sets me back on my, I don't know, right back on my feet or something, because I always feel re-energized and whenever I see stuff like this. Hello, Heathrow Airport. This is me waiting for Will to find our bags. There were about 15 away bags on this flight, so it was a little bit difficult, but we eventually got them and then started walking through the airport, which is always a fun slog to figure out where the rental cars are. You always have to leave in Heathrow, and I feel like every time I've been there, this area has been freezing cold, so for some reason it's just negative memory. We made it. Yeah, it says we're waiting for the bus to take us to the rental car. I got about 2 hours sleep, but Will, I think he actually got 3 or 4 hours sleep, but I think Will only got 1 or 2, and he's gonna attempt to drive on the wrong side of the road for the first time, so gonna be fun. on a short but not so short little ride over to pick up our wrong side of the road car for Will to drive.
A quarter mile of driving, and now you have a crazy roundabout. Where through traffic is actually on the right. And that's, see how that goes yellow? Mm-hmm. On both sides.
Will is driving on the opposite side for the first time.
Now Lucy's documenting it.
I've never done it.
I'm fully confident in my abilities.
Yeah, I should probably be helping him.
Content time.
Okay, I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
You just merge here. You're over the line. Okay, now you're good. On the road. I just thought driving up to Manchester and the whole ride, even though it was long, was just so cool. I think it was kind of similar to Pennsylvania, but I just really loved the landscape and everything. Yay! Okay. So overall, morale has greatly improved, I'd say. Will hasn't gotten an accident, knock on wood. Is there any wood in here? We are on our way up to Manchester. We're about 40 minutes outside of the city, so we have successfully made it. We've taken a couple breaks to walk around, eat a full English ultimate breakfast. Full English breakfast coming in hot. Leave that out.
Oh, it's recorded. It looks delicious.
And grab some coffee, water, etc. We're just taking it slow because of the whole driving situation, and also because everyone's a little tired here. Overall, going well. We'll be in Manchester soon. We don't really have a plan once we're there. We're going to get dinner, but we don't really have a plan in between. But I have to sit and work for a few hours, definitely. So I'm thinking maybe we can go to a coffee shop and hang out there for a little while, and maybe walk around the city for a bit. And yeah, no naps though. When you travel internationally, especially to Europe, no naps, or you'll mess up your schedule for the entire time you're there. When you're flying to Asia, it's not nearly as bad. I actually think the trip from East Coast US to Europe is probably the hardest slash worst for time zones, because if you're going there, it's usually not a long flight, especially like London or somewhere that's fairly close, because it's overnight. Like you'll leave at 7, I think we left at like 7, and then we land in London around 7, but the flight is only like 6.5 hours, or sometimes a little faster depending on like weather conditions and everything. So you don't get that much sleep, and then you land at what feels like to your body 1 o'clock in the morning, and it just ends up being not easy, because then you have to fight through an entire day to get to sleep. So I think that's more difficult, whereas whenever we were in Japan, or I mean India was weird because I was supposed to land at like midnight, but then I actually ended up getting in at 6 a.m. because of a bunch of delays. But for Japan, it was much easier because we landed around 5 or 6 p.m. What time was it? 4 p.m.? Sometime in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we then just had to like get to our hotel, check in, and then literally went out and got dinner and came back and fell asleep, which was fine, because even though it was a little early, like 9 p.m. I think, or 8 p.m., it was okay because it was still like around bedtime. You didn't have to fight through it for that long, but you definitely have to fight through it whenever you come to Europe. So I don't know, I find it more difficult to do coming to Europe versus going to an Asian country, but that's just me. Okay. Also, there's so many sheeps. I have to try to find a way to get some footage of the sheepies. They're everywhere. I've never driven up into the UK. And they're so cute. I want to give them a huggy. Sheepy sheep. I didn't realize how much farmland there was here even. Did you? I don't know. I thought it was going to be like suburbia land. Maybe we're just somehow passing all of it, and it would be like driving on 80 to New York from Pittsburgh or something. But for some reason I thought there was going to be a lot more stuff built up, and I've seen mostly farms, but it's getting very trafficky now that we get closer to Manchester, because I think, yeah, it's just getting closer to a major city. I have no idea what to expect from Manchester. I feel like we're gonna miss something cool or important there because we're only staying for one quick night, but let me know if there's something in Manchester that you think is cute. Beep! You guys can't see them, but there's sheep over there. Frick! Someone needs to immediately tell me what squirty cream is and why is it on waffles? Like what? This is Manchester. I don't know what Sexy Fish is, but it sounds like a fun little something. Just walking along. It was actually a really cool city. It reminded me a lot of Boston, just with the river being there. And although I don't live in Boston anymore, I thought it was really cool and a lot of history. It's chilly. And we're going to dinner. What's it called, Will?
Street urchin.
What? Street urchin.
Street urchin.
That's me. I'm a street urchin.
Yep.
So we're very excited.
Gooey on the inside.
Pointy on the outside and gooey on the inside, I guess. That's me. Oh. If you didn't hear it in the previous video, I was talking about street urchin, which is where we're eating now. The food was really good, but I have to say about 80% of it was fried. And I think that just set the tone for most of the food we found in the UK. A lot of it was brown. I mean, it was amazing, but a lot of it was, yeah, fried and just like a little veggies on top.
Trout, maybe?
This one? Or this one?
What?
This?
The trout.
This is trout? I thought it looks like salmon.
No.
Ooh.
Anticipation.
And for some reason, we were seated right above the place where they were frying the food, as you can see here. So all of my clothes that I wore that night ended up smelling like a literal French fry, which made me mad because I love this sweater and wanted to wear it again. Then we went to a grocery store. I'll talk about this later, but I love going to grocery stores in foreign countries. It was kind of ransacked. It was in the middle of the city, but it was still fun to walk around and take a look at the different products. There's always weird stuff that I run into that make me laugh in grocery stores. What on earth is this? Deliciously zingy.
Oh.
I'm concerned.
Soybean oil, number 1. What is it?
It's just like water, vinegar, oil, mustard powder. It's just like an average salad dressing. I've never seen this before. This stuff is also good, but acquired taste. Hey everyone! Let's ignore the humongous pimple on my forehead that I think I'm getting from my sleeping mask. I started wearing a sleeping mask a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden there's like 100 pimples on my forehead, and so I think I'm gonna have to stop that habit. We're in Manchester right now, and we're gonna be driving up to our venue a little bit later today. First, this morning we're gonna go grab coffee and then finish packing up our stuff. We have to figure out how to get the car out of the parking garage, which has been a whole fiasco because the way that they recommend to do it for the hotel is currently not working, I guess. And then yeah, tonight we're probably, I think we have to do a I think we're going to do a tour of the actual venue, and then we're staying there over the weekend. So that's really exciting and really fun, and I'm so excited to see it. But we've got a haul up there. It's gonna be about 5-hour drive to the southwest coast of Scotland from here in Manchester. And last night we had a really good dinner at this place called Street Urchin, but I smell like a full-on fry because they seated us like right above, there was like a balcony with seats, and they seated us right above the frying station. So my clothes smell a little like a fry. Yes, I am wearing the same jeans as I wore last night because why not? I actually have them from Run the Runway and they're super comfortable and good car jeans. So that's that. I'll take you guys along to go get some coffee with us. I'm hoping we can find a good place here in Manchester. I'm sure there is. It seems like a city, it honestly kind of reminds me of Boston. It seems like a city that would definitely have good coffee. So we're gonna go on a little hunt. And then I'm also hoping that maybe on our way up we can stop at a grocery store, because if you know anything about me, it's that I absolutely love international grocery stores. And almost, I mean, we did go to one last night just shortly, but almost always my favorite thing ever is to go to grocery stores whenever I travel to a new place. And I would say it's probably one of my favorite travel tips. Also, I think you can learn so much about a culture from the way that they eat and the way they interact with food. And honestly, when you go into grocery stores, you kind of get a feel of like if it's a lot of packaged stuff, is it a lot of fresh stuff? Do they not really have big box grocery stores like in the US? And I just feel like you can learn a lot about food, but that's also coming from me, who is very much food oriented. And I've spent a lot of time and around food with like my mom and Will and everything. So I think I'm always looking for the food thing to do. But I think anywhere I go, if it's for work or this or that, I always go to a grocery store, because you can just, there's just so much interesting stuff in a foreign grocery store. Sometimes you can find your favorite delicious thing also. Like in Germany, there are these things called Mr. Tom's bars. I should probably not tell this because maybe people will go buy them, but they're Will's like absolute favorite thing. They're basically peanut bars. Actually, I think we have one here. Yep, we do. Mr. Tom's. Mr. Tom, I mean. They're just like a peanut bar with some sugar, and you can see they're German. This is literally all written in German. And they're his absolute favorite thing. They're peanuts and caramel. I mean, it's not rocket science, but they're delicious. So that's why I also love going to grocery stores. I would have never known about Mr. Tom if it wasn't for one of my coworkers whose boyfriend also loves Mr. Tom. Yesterday we had a Jaffa cake. I'm not sure what they're called, but that's another thing. Like, I had those last time I was in the UK, but they're not something I see very often in the US. And those are good. They're basically like an orange cake with some chocolate on top. So basically this is to say that everything I do is centered around food. Are you ready to go get coffee? I found one place that's 4.7 stars and it's very close. Or there's one that's 4.9, that's a coffee bar and roastery. That's 700 reviews and 4.9 stars. They both look very good.
I would say just the first one.
Go to the
because
closer
we're kind
one.
of,
Yeah, on a schedule.
yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, let's go grab some coffee. I am starving for coffee. We found such a cute coffee shop, the one that I was talking about in the previous video. I think it was actually from Australia, because they had a bunch of Australian stuff in there. But it was so good. I had this delicious oat milk flat white, and it was honestly insanely delicious food. And there was this sauce that they used that was out of this world, and I was literally slathering it on everything. My middle name is Camden, so I just took a video of these because I thought that was cool, and I thought this building was awesome. Then we were on the road again. The craziest thing to me about traveling in the UK were these hills or mountains, and that there were no trees on them. And I have heard of it before, that basically all of the UK has been deforested, but it just still amazed me to see these huge hills where I live in Pennsylvania. They're all covered in trees. To just see them totally bare and naked, it kind of reminded me like I was looking at someone's bare butt or something. And I don't know, it just amazed me. So I took a bunch of video of it because I feel like I've never seen big rolling hills like this where there were no trees on them. This is Rick Steves' drive from Manchester to Scotland. I don't I don't know what I'm saying, but this was just so pretty. I thought the whole place was just so cool. I kept taking video, and there's sheep. There's sheep. Look at the sheep. Look at the sheep. There's babies. There's sheep. Oh my god, I love the sheep. That was probably my favorite part of the whole entire trip. This is whenever Will accidentally made a wrong turn, one of maybe 15 that he made on the trip, and we were on a back country road, and I just thought it was cool. There was almost like a 60-mile-per-hour speed limit. People were flying by. It was super narrow, but I just thought it was so cool and winding, and with the way that the sunlight was hitting, it kind of feels gloomy, but it wasn't really that gloomy. It was a pretty nice day for, I think, being in Scotland. I'm not sure if we're in Scotland or the UK here. I also thought all the old houses and farms, it was just a cute little drive around. And then you see all of the time this happened on these roads, there's like big tractors. This one was letting us pass. There was one point we ran into 3 in about 15 minutes, and they almost smoked the car, but luckily we were safe. We were all good. Apparently these tractor drivers really know what they're doing. So yeah, just driving down an old country road in the UK. We finally got to the coastline, and that was also just insane. I mean, it looks like Jesus is coming through these clouds. And the closer we got, we were still kind of near the coastline, but the closer we got, we started to see cows the more north we got and the closer to the estate. Some of these guys were just massive. Sadly, none of them were Highland cattle, which I think are adorably cute, but I thought it was just so fun. There was so much farmland. I really did not understand how much farmland there is in the UK, and a lot of, it seems like cheese and dairy and that kind of a thing. So it was just so cool. I love animals and I love farms, so I always freak out anytime I see animals when we're driving. I thought you were kidding. It's literally called Market Squad. Here we are at the estate. We finally made it, and it was just so beautiful. The sun was shining. There were sheep in the front yard. It's a complete working farm, which I think is so cool. And this is all I have for this week, but come back next week and I'll show you part 2 of our trip to Scotland / the UK.